the GIM Channel podcast, bringing you the big picture on geoscientific information management through interviews and discussions.
Welcome to the GIM Channel. Our podcast channel features guest speakers from the natural resources industries, with an interest and focus on digital technologies and geoscientific information management. If you're enjoying our podcast series, please leave some feedback through your podcast player or on Apple Podcast. We love to hear from our community. Featured in this episode is guest speaker Tanya Matveeva, Director of Kamni Chain. Tanya is joined by Greg Ashcroft from Acquire to discuss the rapidly evolving world of blockchain technology and mining.
Hi, Tanya. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your current role?
Thank you for your interest, Greg. So my name is Tanya Matveeva. I'm based in the UK, and I'm a director of a startup consultancy company called Kamni Chain. I started this company in 2019. I'm a geologist by my whole life experience. And as a geologist, I had to deal with data a lot in mineral exploration, and that led to my interest in data management, and I decided to start a company to specifically promote the use of blockchain technology in mining industry, because I believe it has a great role, and I think mining industry needs some additional help to get going, and that's what our company is trying to do.
Oh, interesting. So when I hear about blockchain, the first thing that comes to my mind is cryptocurrency, and that's about as much as I know about it. So what exactly is blockchain technology?
Blockchain technology is actually distributed or shared database. Indeed, its main application that is known widely right now is in cryptocurrency, but my interest is nothing to do with cryptocurrency at all, because blockchain also is used in industry a lot. Basically, it is a much better, it's a next level data management system compared to centralized database. At Acquire, of course, your users appreciate how important good data management is and what the good database can do. When I learned about blockchain technology, I realized that this is like a next level database where the ownership of the data doesn't sit with just one entity, but the ownership and the control of the data transactions is under many participants. Everybody who needs the access to one source of truth, and anybody who needs to know what kind of changes were made to information. The blockchain technology is unique and revolutionary, and is the only system that allows that. Cryptocurrency just became the most widespread use of it, but the technology itself can handle much more than just cryptocurrencies.
So how does blockchain then fit in the mining natural resources industry?
It really is just beginning in the mining and mineral resources, although many companies by now have offered blockchain-based solutions to the mining industry. The first kind of applications that I started, hearing about were in 2017, 2018. So, a few years have passed, but compared to all other industries, mining is falling behind. Blockchain now is used in many other industries, most notably where we should be looking at oil and gas, but also in the construction industry, in logistics, in real estate. And what is mining industry if not a combination of all three? We have construction, we have logistics, our mining licenses are our real estate. But in terms of how it is now used, blockchain in mining started by tracking the origin of diamonds and gold. The buyers wanted to ascertain that the diamonds that they're buying and the gold they're buying are not blood diamonds and not like illegally mined gold under, slavery conditions. It then extended to cobalt as well, because a lot of cobalt comes from Congo. People wanted to know that this cobalt comes from the legal mines and does not involve any child labor. So it started by tracking the origins of these materials. And the next step was tracking the parameters of ESG, environmental, social, and governance. So currently, the most widespread application, I would say, for blockchain in mining is in tracking this ESG parameters. And if you look at the companies that are offering their blockchain services, blockchain as a service on their website, you will see on all of them that they offer this ESG tracking. But as I mentioned before, there are many other applications, and these applications are also being developed. For example, tracking containers that carry iron ore concentrate from Australia to China. All the digital documentation that goes with these containers is being tracked on blockchain. That provides efficiency, that provides transparency, and also tracking the assay data information. This are only being developed right now. Gradually, independent labs start to learn about blockchain technology and how they can, use it, and how they can cooperate with their clients using blockchain technology. So, luckily for my company, the uses are many and they're growing. Over many different metals and materials, and also over many geographies.
Wow, that's amazing. It's very interesting to see how blockchain doesn't just apply to one specific thing. It has many uses, and especially in the mine industry, there's so much application for it. So what kind of data or information, particularly in this industry, would play a part in blockchain technology?
So blockchain, of course, is a database for managing digital data. Right. So the step one, we need to convert our physical commodity into a digital piece of information, into a file. There are various options to do that. I mentioned it all started with tracking diamonds, for example. And what they did with diamonds, they did a 3D scan of a diamond in the rough, and each diamond in the rough is unique. And this created this digital signature that they could then track, how this diamond traveled from, the mine to the processing facility to the jeweler and finally to the client. But if we think about it, majority of the information that we deal with now is actually digital. We very rarely deal with paper, although mining industry is guilty of that, probably more than other industries. But still, most of the stuff that we're dealing with is digital information. So any piece of digital information can be tracked on blockchain. The difference is anything that gets onto blockchain, it gets this cryptographic signature, and if there is any change to the original file, it will be visible to all the participants who have the right to see this change. So this is the difference compared to the standard centralized database where just one entity is in control of everything. So any digital information, what does that mean? Think about it. For me, as an exploration geologist, I already mentioned assay data, very important. I'm thinking of the assay data going onto blockchain directly from the independent lab. Then all shipment information. So this is something that is already happening in mining and also happens in oil and gas industry and in many other industries. All your bills of lading, which track, information on when the container was shipped, what was the quality of the material. It can also track live the geographic position, and I know we'll be talking about that later. So basically any movement of the digital information on a blockchain platform is much more reliable, transparent. Each party is responsible for what they put on this platform, because others who are interested in this transaction, they can see each actor, of course, within what rights they have to, see this information. And yeah, we can talk about that a bit later.
Okay. So, in the recent years, I'd say almost in the last decade, we've seen a lot more, especially with technology advancing, machine learning, AI, more people moving towards working on smart devices out in the field. So how could blockchain technology integrate with those types of digital technologies?
This is a very exciting aspect of a blockchain technology because it is obviously a digital database. It integrates very well with all AI devices or any kind of device that is reading information right in the field. So again, this information that is read by the device can go directly onto the blockchain platform, and there can be no interference. One of the examples that I like to use, we all hear about this tragic dam failures, right, in Brazil that cost so much lives and such incredible environmental damage. The information from the devices that are measuring the saturation of the dam could go rather than to, individual company or just one entity like a government entity or some independent consultant, and then it's very hard to prove, is that really the information? How you're going to verify it? If this information was submitted directly from the device and onto a blockchain database, then there is no argument. There can be no changes that are made by any party who is interested to change the data post factum. So that's one application. Any sort of data, from your drilling rig, if you have a location of the drilling rig or the rate of drilling, etc., anything that can be disputed can be helped by removing this problem when one party can change the data if they really, really need to. So this blockchain platform brings transparency and responsibility, something that just is not possible without this cryptographic feature, the encryption of the data right away, because blockchain is like a one-way street, if you like. Once the information has been encrypted and it goes onto blockchain, there is no way to unwind it back and to find out what it was. And if even one digit in this file is changed, it creates a completely different cryptographic signature. Therefore, you can't really fake the information that is already there. It is possible to submit new information. Yes, absolutely. It's not like if you made a mistake, you can't correct it. You can. But the second entry will be visible to those who have the right to see it. And maybe we should talk a bit about the, transparency on blockchain and what that actually means, because a lot of people are scared about that.
Yeah, no, that was the one word that just popped up, and you said it numerous times. That transparency. It's quite a lot of companies that I'm seeing is needing more. The managers want to understand where the data is coming, what gets changed, and from having a centralized database, it doesn't always capture that information. So that's where blockchain fits to solve that problem. So I think I like that, having transparency and increased security gives more power to those that need to see the data. So then what are some of the business benefits of blockchain tech in the mining natural resources industry?
So I want to see this from the point of view of the mining industry. So the uses that I mentioned so far, the one that are most common right now, is tracking where the metals are coming from, and also proving what your ESG parameters are. And in terms of tracking, as a mining industry, we don't need to know where our metals and materials are coming from. We know that. This is a requirement that is being pushed onto us as miners by our buyers. So it becomes like an extra burden, right? We need to prove that, we're good miners. Although it has an added benefit, once we prove it, then we improve the image of the mining industry, which is something that is very much needed, really, in the society. In terms of tracking ESG parameters, that's already closer to my cause because I think it's just more efficient tracking the ESG parameters on blockchain, and it will be just outright, a business benefit. You have a system that is more advanced than just emailing your PDFs reports or sending your, God forbid, Excel spreadsheets with information. So it's just a more efficient system. And again, the immutability of information, the transparency for all those involved, it's just, a better system to handle the data. But there are things where there is a lot to be done, such as blockchain platforms allow development of smart contracts. And maybe we should step back a little bit if we have time. There are two major cryptocurrencies, right, that appeared first. One, of course, was the Bitcoin, which continues to operate. And Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency system, and its only use is Bitcoin. There is nothing else you can do on this platform. And then there is another platform called Ethereum. And Ethereum is a principally very different blockchain platform. It also has a cryptocurrency called Ether, but it allows much more. It's like an open platform on which you can develop different applications. And on Ethereum, many smart contracts have been created. What does it mean, smart contract? Self-executing contract, saving money, time, and hassle to those who enter into this agreement to execute smart contracts. Smart contracts are now extensively used in construction industry. They are being used in oil and gas industry, and I'm very much looking forward to see more implementation in mining industry. This is where I see a big area for growth. Okay.
No, it's all. No, that's quite interesting. So, what challenges then would companies be facing when they implement blockchain technology?
Currently, the main challenge is simply lack of understanding of the technology and what it can bring. There is fear. The fear is, of course, related to the thinking, blockchain means cryptocurrency. We don't deal in cryptocurrency. So that's first kind of challenge that we have to overcome in our education of the mining industry about blockchain technology. And the second fear is, it seems very, sophisticated. Maybe we will need, a very large IT department to just handle that. Maybe we will need very expensive computers, or maybe it will cost us a lot of electricity costs, which is completely not the case. So the main challenge right now is just this lack of understanding. And a big part of what we do is talking to mining companies and promoting what applications have already exist. It's a very important point that we try to convey is it's not something that the mining company needs to develop themselves. I think they should trust the professionals. Basically, blockchain technology is a kind of a software technology, and just as the mining companies shouldn't try and develop their own acquire, they shouldn't try and develop their own, blockchain, because there are professionals who have already done it for others, and it is much more efficient and more promising. And as an industry, we will benefit if we work together and use companies that already have experience. It's obviously a specialist area of expertise, and we need to work with these companies. This way, the whole industry will benefit from the technology in general. Our company, Kamni Chain, is agnostic in terms of what kind of application you use. We are happy to help all companies who promote the blockchain technology in various areas. All these startups, and they're mainly startups, but now they've grown quite a bit, over the years. But each startup has a slightly different flavor, and I think there is room for all of them, and we will see how it will develop. Blockchain technology really is revolutionary technology, just like we couldn't predict what internet will mean for us when we just started email. We didn't know it will end up with, this podcast. Mm-hmm. Same thing with blockchain technology. It's that level of innovation. It's that level of like a next step development. So we don't know how it will, transpire, but certainly I'm believer in the technology, and I'm very glad to see that all the companies that we see now are offering this services, blockchain as a service. They have all grown over the years, and both, in terms of the number of commodities and the geography that they cover.
Okay, so you do mention about transparency. There's a lot of concern more recently, a lot with like hacking and attacks and stuff like that. What kind of options are there in terms of blockchain, so that companies can, understand if they were to implement blockchain, how can they go about protecting themselves?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So there are two types of blockchain platforms. There are public platforms, and then there are private blockchain platforms. Currently, majority of enterprise blockchain is run on a private blockchain platform. What does it mean? It means that only the people who are invited are allowed to participate on this particular blockchain platform. So one of the biggest one, for example, is run by IBM Hyperledger. And so far, majority of the industrial applications of blockchain are run on the private blockchain platforms. It has its shortcomings because then it is less distributed. It is less kind of independent. The trend is to gradually move from this private blockchain platforms into a public, but public blockchain still allows for complete security of all the information. Public doesn't mean that everybody can see everything. Still, the nodes of this blockchain platform, even in the public system, have limited rights to access to a particular information. But I think just because of the general fear of the industry, for now, it starts on these private blockchain platforms, or sometimes even blockchain platforms that are developed just for this particular enterprise. And gradually, sometimes when people have more confidence, then they can move onto a public platform. And the reason they would do it is, first of all, for efficiency. You can put in more participants, but also for actually security. Because if it is a private platform, still the people who designed it, or people who run it like IBM, they have too much power, let's put over the whole system. So it is actually better to jump into the public blockchain, but so far majority of the applications are on private, and I think that's a good first step and in the right direction.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, Tanya. So I've done a little bit of some research on blockchain, and one of the sort of controversies or another issue with blockchain is, I guess, the proof of work. It requires a lot of computing and processing power, which takes up a lot of energy. So there's a bit of a concern about that. And with mining companies now moving towards good ESG principles and just following how they are impacting the environment, you know, what would you say to those that would be concerned about at least their environmental impact if a company wanted to implement blockchain technology?
I love this question because the answer to this, it is a zero environmental impact. The mining of the cryptocurrencies, which is energy consuming process, is something that is only applicable to mining cryptocurrencies, because to create these new blocks, they have to solve this cryptographic puzzle that is artificially created to make it more and more difficult to solve. For industrial blockchain, there is no cryptographic puzzle to be solved. It's just unnecessary. So the energy consumption is just not a question. It's not even whether it is proof of work or proof of stake. For industrial application, when there is no blocks to be earned, because the participants don't need to earn the blocks.
Oh, interesting.
So the energy consumption is just a non-issue. But I hear this question often, and they say, "Oh, how do you say we're going to be ESG responsible?" I'm like, "Yeah, just no problem at all.
Huh.
Not an issue."
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with like cryptocurrency. When you're dealing with financial side of things, you want to make sure you are being as secure, and so you have a stronger encryption versus industrial applications. It doesn't need to be as require that extra work. So no, that's yeah, that definitely took a question it was in my mind the whole time, and I was like, how do you get that? And it's like, oh, there is actually a way to get how it works.
Yeah,
so.
there is no, because you don't need to earn the extra block. Like, so when you're mining Bitcoin, what are you doing? You're earning a Bitcoin in order to certify the next block of transactions. Well, in this case, that there is no earning. You don't need to earn anything. You're not trying to make any money of it. You are recording a transaction that doesn't cost any energy whatsoever. You are creating a hash, and that's that doesn't require any energy. So energy consumption for industrial application is a non-issue.
Excellent. Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. If I may, I would like to invite all your listeners to visit my website, www.blockchaininmining.com, where we have recording of many webinars. They're all free and all available for you to just have a look what kind of companies work in this space and what they do. And we will be very happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Definitely learned a lot more than when I first started the podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for listening to Acquire's podcast, The GIM Channel. Find us at acquire.com.au.